Yeah, man, Voice of the Drum. You know, it's interesting because I'm down here in Columbus, Georgia. And this place is like the land that time forgot.
Wow.
It's like going into a portal that don't exist no more. You know? And I know there's a lot of places like that around the country where, you know, our vibration is so high that, you know, when we go back to these places, they ain't there. I mean, the whole city ain't there. You know what I mean? So it's always a little acclimation, getting used to it. But this is my only ancestral location on the planet. You know, my mother grew up in this house, you know, on this street, and you know, it's the only like route I know. You know, on this earth walk, you know, and yeah, so it's always interesting, you know, coming back here because I was, you know, running around here as a little child, you know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of memory and a lot of sufferation and a lot of pain in this house, you know. That you know.
And so what's happening with the city? You know, when you say this, time has forgotten it.
You know, I mean, just one, you know, Columbus is, I say it's at least 50% black.
Okay.
They've never had a black mayor. Just that alone. Now we know, you know, a black mayor, like a black president, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just pretty much for show, you know.
Right.
But
possible scapegoat as well.
You know, and right, exactly. You know, and but this city ain't even got to that surface yet.
I got you.
They ain't even got to that cosmetic level of power. You know? Right. They ain't even got there.
Let me ask you this. Is there still like businesses that cater, like black-owned businesses that cater to our community because we don't have access to those services and things outside of our community?
Apart from restaurants? Not really. You know,
not really.
There's one restaurant here, you know, one of Puff Daddy's baby mama is from here, you know.
Okay.
So she's got a very hot soul food restaurant, you know. But in terms of like, you know, because my grandfather, Eugene Huntley, you know, he always worked for himself. You know, he was the Iceman, and you know, so he was that kind of brother, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit, you know, that we had to have before, especially down here in the South.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you had you just die, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the last things my grandmother said to me while she was of sound mind was that she said it was better for us before integration.
Yeah.
And to understand the significance of it coming from her, you know, I grew up in Washington, D.C. So, you know, she was a Washingtonian, and her son was a civil rights lawyer. My mother's brother was like a civil rights lawyer he was one of the ones out suing for and using legal legal leverage to make sure we would get included in certain contracts, like government contracts. You know, that was the whole thing. Like, we had to get a piece of the pie, right? But then when we started eating there, because at this time too, DC had DC was Chocolate City. You know, we was what, like 86% of the population when I was like a tween and teen, you know? And so I just remember black lawyers, black real estate agents, black teachers, like the whole economy of our communities was, at least the face of it, you know, was us, you know? And, yeah, I mean, I've just really observed the demise of that. And, you know, just even wondering if that might have been a hidden gem happening down there, you know?
In fact, I mean, you know, this was not the course I was expecting to go, but we on it, so let's go. I give two interesting examples. Years ago, this is, my grandmother was still alive. This had to be maybe 2007, 2008. There was a brother that was killed by the police on a traffic stop. He was in a, you know, a nice kind of SUV with, you know, a few of his partners. You know, they all were professional brothers. They weren't, you know, of that underworld element. You know, they was all, you know, jobs and mortgages. You know what I mean? They was,
right.
They was good Negroes. You know what I mean? That's doing everything they're supposed to do. You know. Brother got shot execution style on the floor.
Wow.
Of the road, like 3-4 shots, you know. And so I was coming down to visit my mother, and she was telling me about it. And so, you know, I came up in the nation, and so the nation had organized some type of rally, and the civil rights leaders, NAACP, was protesting the organization of the rally. Just like, we don't need y'all down here. I was like, what? I was like, huh? You know, and of course, you know, as we've seen in recent times, there were counter organizations on behalf of the police. You know, and I mean, now it's like, yo, you kill one of us, I mean, you'll be a millionaire. You know, they set up a GoFundMe account, you know, and they good. You know, but so I was like, well, I'll go. If these Negroes are scared to go, I'll go to the protest, you know. And I had long since kind of hung up my Superman cape, you know, of going out there. But I was like, look, you know, I mean, somebody got to be there, you know. And it actually did be, it was actually well attended. I think Chris Tucker came down from Atlanta. Judge Mathis. You know, he really showed out, because they tried to take him off the air. He was like, I think I'm just going to buy up a bunch of property down here in Columbus and y'all try to take me off the air. I'm going to buy some homes down here. You know? Wow. But even turning back the clock in terms of where Columbus was before I was born, and then I'm going to pivot into Tuskegee, because Tuskegee is maybe an hour and a half away from Columbus, Georgia. Okay. And Tuskegee, you're on the west side of Alabama border, literally right on the border. There's a place called Phoenix City, which is right across the river, and then Tuskegee. Both of my parents are Tuskegee graduates. Okay. My father from Boston, my mother from here. And they went to the same school or same class era as Lionel Richie and the Commodores, Tom Joyner, you know. And I read interviews where Lionel was saying that's all he knew. You know, with black doctors, black lawyers, black, you know what I'm saying, black professionals, black mechanics, black plumbers. You know, man, he didn't know nothing else about anything different. Yeah. You know, than black excellence. Yeah. You know? And I mean, and why? Yeah. You know, than black excellence.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, and why this...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was saying why these things is important and relevant. It's not about being racist or nothing like that, but the reality is economic health impacts all other realms of our health and well-being. If we're not economically healthy, it's very difficult to have mental health, man, and manage the stress of life. And if you can't manage the stress of life, then your physical health is now in jeopardy. You know what I mean? And you know, it's a real thing, and it also impacts our relationships too, because if your economic health isn't well, then it's hard to maintain, like we say, like that balance of exchange with people in your community, you know, and then it sets up mixed up moods and attitudes and, you know, lack of collective work and responsibility. I don't think we can have collective work and responsibility without cooperative economics. And that was one of the things that we lost with what they call integration, you know. And so then it became disintegration, you know?
Indeed.
Yeah, man. But I know that's a real grounded reasoning. I know you wanted to ascend and elevate, but this thing is real.
It's a good base. It's a good base because, continue, please.
No, I just say it's real because it's so relevant. You know, just, you know, the lack of resources in our community. And, yeah, it's real.
Well,
you know?
and as well, you know, because we do want to go high, but it's like, if the lights ain't on, if you ain't got a roof over your head, you can't think about going high.
That's all we got left. Oh,
you know
boy, no, sir. True.
Yeah, you can't even, you know what I mean? You can't even think about the higher, like, why am I on the planet? When them belly full, but we hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you hungry, you can't think about, you know, how do I activate my God powers?
That's right. Because a hungry man is an angry man.
For real. Yeah, man. And anger is a demonic force. So I mean, it's actually one of the going high. It's actually one of the reasons that the spiritual wickedness in high places. That's one of their greatest forces.
You're right. You're right. It's a great. That is the intention of the create, because we know we are abundant beings.
Exactly.
You know? We know, like, our nature is abundance, and I think even the better word is opulence. Opulence.
Yeah, man.
Opulence is the natural divine state of abundance.
That's right.
And so if we're in our natural...
Rewind selector. Say that again.
You say opulence is the divine natural state of abundance and being, you know? Because when you look at a tree, when the tree bears its fruit, it don't bear one fruit.
Right,
fruit.
right.
It bears an opulent amount of fruit, you know?
Totally.
And, you know, when you look at the ocean, the abundance of the ocean, you know, you look at the cosmos and the abundance of stars, it's like abundance is a principle and natural law of creation, you know? And the only reason we even experience lack, you're right, it's the manipulation of, we say them, satanic forces And the intention is to put fear, anger, doubt, lack of faith, stress, all them things in our life so that we can't manifest. We can't reach our heights, like you say, you know, because when we're in our height, we're in our manifesting state. You know, we think and it manifests. You know, so them can't let that happen. You know, so that's their intention with that. But
well, it's the pain too. I mean, because like you said, I said for a long time, women suffer from broken hearts. Men suffer from broken dreams. Because, you know, like I said, we know that there's nothing that we should want for. You know, with this recent, you know, these hurricanes and whatnot, we had got the heads up in the Tyro community through Master Gibson on this solar eclipse, and he said there's going to be 2 earthquakes, hurricanes, and natural disasters immediately from this eclipse because a negative demonic being is coming through this portal. And even in the mythology, I call it Clash of the Titans, the movie from 2010. And in that movie, in the mythology, Hades says, I'm going to release the Kraken on the next solar eclipse.
Wow.
And all the ones that was out there watching the eclipse let a little bit of that demonic entity into their consciousness.
Right.
And within 24 hours of that eclipse, man, the earthquakes was shaking. And it ain't stopped. You know?
Yeah.
But, please continue.
I was going to say, when I was meditating on, like, right, how you say, what we just going to freestyle, what's going to be the reasoning today, you know? What really came to my heavens was, because you know, all right, so when you look at the cycle of eclipses, as it relates to the United States, right, this was the first eclipse in 99 years that traversed the U.S. But there's another one coming in 7 years. In 2020, I think it's 2023 or 2024, you know. But there's going to be another one in 7 years, right? And in my heavens, I just kind of intuited, like, these 2 eclipses is really what's going to mark what them call in prophecy them 7 years tribulation, you know, where I guess for a lack of a better word, hell is truly unleashed upon the earth, you know, and it's like the 7 most challenging years that, you know, humanity had faced in probably about 13,000 years, you know, and that, you know, we was going to have to really be strong with our works, our spirit works,
right,
to make it through this, you know, but that if we make it through this 7-year tribulation without taking the microchip, you know, without getting totally GMO'd and you're still alive.
Cyborg.
Yeah. If we can make it through these 7 years without that, then, you know, that prophecy of the New Jerusalem, where we kind of return to our Edenic state and, you know, one with nature again. And there's a more greater overstanding that when we fight one another, we fight ourselves, and, you know, that, you know, basically what I would say the age of Rastafari, you know?
Yeah, man.
Come into manifestation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So But you know, time will tell, man. No one really knows how prophecy will unfold. And I think it's really the collective vision of everyone shared that manifests that unfoldment, you know?
Right.
But I do feel like now more than ever, prophecy should be something we study and research, you know, because, yeah, man, I mean, whew. And eclipses have been a sign of prophets from Yasus and Abraham. You know, Abraham moved into Canaan at the sign of an eclipse, you know. Who's the one that prophesied against Nineveh? Jonah. Yeah, Jonah. You know.
With them whales.
Yeah, I'm saying, look, you know, y'all about to catch earthquake, plague, insurrection, enough judgment if you don't repent right before that eclipse. And so them took it like, what? This man is, you know, some true messenger of the Most High. And they said everybody, from the king to the dogs, fasted and prayed for 40 days to repent, you know? And Yasus, they say Yasus had them say the sun turned to darkness and the moon to blood at the crucifixion of Yasus.
Right.
But that was an eclipse, you know? And you know, the Nat Turner rebellion was inspired by an eclipse, as well as Zulu Dawn, the Battle of Zulu Dawn, where the Zulus slaughtered about 1,700 British soldiers, you know? They call it the Battle of the Dead Moon, because when they saw the eclipse, they took it as a sign that they was going to win. And they did. They won the battle. They lost the war, but they did win that battle. But same way.
Yeah, because Shaka was a prophet too. He had a whole mystical gift of prophecy, right? That they don't really talk too much about, you know.
That is true. But Shaka did some ill things.
Yeah.
You know, that you know, he's responsible for what them call the Epiphanies in South African history.
I am not familiar with that term.
The Epiphanies in South Africa is like the maafa for I, the great disaster. Where what Shaka did, Shaka basically violated what we would call the rules of engagement amongst the Bantu speakers of all the Bantu nations south of the Limpopo River. And because prior to Shaka, we would fight, you know, if we had to like settle a dispute or a battle, we actually fought more on the spiritual plane than the physical. And it was the conflict was settled. The idea was to settle the conflict with as least blood is shed, you know. But Shaka did a couple things. One,
savagery.
He went into savage mode. He created the assegai spear, which was like a lance. You know, you could just run up and lance mugs, you know, as opposed to a spear that you would throw and have more of an element of chance and psychic protection.
Well, with the spear, the elements, you're working with the elements, so the spear may take out 10 people. Because you're not working with your own power.
Yes.
Right?
So that, and he actually introduced a form of homosexuality.
Wow.
Amongst the soldiers. They call it pederasty, right?
Wow.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's basically non-anal penetration male sexual engagement. You know, and that's how his younger soldiers were groomed. And they did it so that the men could just stay on the field and fight and not worry about a domestic life, you know, and not worry about the needs of women, you know. How that played out, he conquered all of the Bantu speakers south of the Limpopo. So then when the British came and knocked them off, knocked the Zulu off, yeah, they had the whole land, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they were the unconquerable ones.
Yeah, so, you know, Zulu, but, you know, when we study Bantu tradition, all heroes got a duality.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Totally.
You know, because it is what it is. I mean, this is we're in a dual place. You know, when we even look at the dimensions, every dimension has a polarity. So you got left, right, front, back, up, down. That's the 3 dimensions, right? Then you got time, but a past and a future. And then 5th dimension, I seen KRS drop, is in and out. You know, so there's polarity with everything, man. And the idea is to balance the scale so our heart is light at the end of this thing, you know?
That's right. See, it's very interesting with the Zulu. Credo Mutwa. He's the only African man I've ever heard of say that, and he talks about the Chitalewi, who they had in the movie, that second Avenger, or maybe that first Avengers movie. They were the evil, like, you know, the Chitalewi. The same thing that Credo Mutwa talk about. And he said he ate their flesh, and they made him a homosexual.
Yeah.
Never hear no African man talk like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I also think about
and that's my source for that information on Shaka, by the way, as well.
It was Credo.
Credo Mutwa, yes. And Goma, my people. His watershed work. And I think you might even summarize it also in his work Zulu Shaman, which is like kind of a summary of and I said Ngoma, my people, it's Ndaba, my people, excuse me.
Yes. Hear the story of the star.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too, because one of the things I learned from the Zulu princess, because she actually was a princess, was the word idlozi, and I got this from Credo Mutwa as well. Zulu word for idlozi is ancestral spirit. But if you go across South Africa, Cape Town way, you know, to Mandela's tribe, and now the same word idlozi becomes sexual lust. You know? And I think what you're talking about with Shaka, with the eclipse, and now bringing it back to us, is really being able to balance your emotions. Because I heard a lot of the ones, you know, especially on the quote-unquote black consciousness circuit, talking about, you know, we're going to get with this solar eclipse energy. You know, so did Nat Turner really, was that rebellion really beneficial for us? You know, was Shaka's assault after the eclipse, was that really beneficial in the end? You know what I mean? And as he was speaking, I think about that Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin got turned into Darth Vader. He was a Christ child. You know, he had the high mitochondria, ATP, light cells off the chart, born of a virgin. You know, he was the chosen one.
Right.
But he got maxed through his emotions.
Right.
You know, of like...
And fear,
okay,
right, fear of his mother's fate.
Right. Happening to the woman he loved.
Right.
Now, from his perspective, that's a positive. I want to save the woman I love because I can't go through that pain of losing another loved one. So I'm going to roll with the Sith, you know, which we could, you know, equate to maybe, you know, I'm going to get this microchip, you know, because I got, you know what I mean? I got to, you know, that's, you know, I'm just using it as an analogy, you know what I mean? But it's very real that our emotions and I do feel that all, you know, quote unquote darkness, we contract. Like, we paid them to make us in the diamond. You know, this is your job. You are my servant. Darkness is, get thee behind me, Satan. You know what I mean? So, but that emotional balance, and again, the heart being lighter than the feather, that's the key, man.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
That's the key, man.
It's, yeah, you know, it's so funny, you know, because even let's take it to like an astrological level, right? You know, Pluto is in Capricorn right now. And Capricorn represents all things we have to do without emotion. You know, like anytime you find yourself saying, I love you, but you're in that Capricorn role. Or it's nothing personal, you know. And you know, Pluto is all about our power and really the deepest part of our soul, you know. And how it's aligned with truth. And you know, how we use or misuse our essence, our power, you know? And I see people giving, like what you were just sharing, and I've heard this theme expressed by several people in other ways, but it's the same sentiment, that emotions aren't so much, like emotions can be a problem, you know, and it is real. I think that's one of our biggest challenges right now. Because me and my Empress has even been reasoning on this thing a lot, and because it's like we're all kind of wrestling with it. And she said she found this motto: observe everything, react to nothing.
Yes, yes.
And that's what we have to be able to grow to, master our emotions to that level. That something goes down, we can't put an immediate value judgment on one way or another, you know, because we don't know the greater good involved in that thing, and we don't really know the greater purpose, reason, and we say divine intention behind it, you know? So we have to observe it. Don't react. Observe everything.
Right.
Don't react to nothing. And I think that if we can do that, this will help us master this Pluto and Capricorn cycle, even with Trump. Because I've never known a politician to incite such volatile emotion in people, fear being the biggest one, you know, fear and angst and hate, polarization.
But we gotta look at the balance, because he is actually the polar opposite of Obama. Because
True.
all the love that many had for Obama of all races,
Right.
there were people that were disgusted by everything that dude did.
Right.
And now the people that were disgusted by everything Obama did feel
Are
the way
feeling that's
they feel
right.
like Trump is the savior. Alex
Exactly.
Jones says, Trump is out to save humanity. And he really
Yes.
believes that.
And
And all the Obama
the
lovers
one-
is like, they're disgusted by everything Trump does.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like a total flip of the coin. You know?
Exactly.
Wow.
So, we have to observe it and not react if we're going to master it. You got to proact, which is vision. Visualize and affirm the reality we want for ourselves. And
I was talking to my girlfriend about that because she lives down there, in Texas. She's right in it, And I was talking with her about detached compassion. And
wow.
the Dalai Lama, he was being interviewed years ago on CNN. And Christiane Amanpour, did all the international interviews. She was detailing to him the atrocities of the Chinese on the Tibetan people. And after about 45 seconds, the Dalai Lama literally just burst out in laughter. I mean, LOL, laughed out loud. And Christiane Amanpour got upset and offended. She's like, sir, pardon me, how could you laugh at what the Chinese have done to your people? And he looked at her with a smile and said, do you want me to be angry? What am I supposed to do?
He said, you want me to be angry? What am I supposed to do?
Right. What would you, you know what I'm saying? And that is, that's the heart being lighted in the feather. You ain't reacting to every little thing that's done, whether it's microscopic or macroscopic. You can look at it with detached compassion. But being a spiritual person, being an empath, you want to affect, some type of change, But often, the best thing to do is just laugh. Just find a way to laugh through that.
Yeah, that we have to grow there. And that's tied into healing our trauma from the maafa. We got to be able to laugh about the maafa. And I know different ones that might hear that will be like, what? But I'm not forgetting my ancestors. Anybody know me? Anybody know me knows how I deal with my ancestors, okay? So ain't nobody forgetting or forsaking nothing from the past. But we gotta, if we heal ourselves and master this thing, we give meaning to what they went through. We're honoring them,
Yeah, man.
So yeah, we have to grow to that. And I know some just even the sound of that. Some can't even fathom that thing in their inner world, But that's just how much healing we have to do.